Hi fans, I want to welcome you to my latest installment of StudioJake. Now I know we've had off topics, we've had trailer reactions, and of course my interviews that I've been doing. I want to thank you for supporting my interviews, especially my last ones. They have been phenomenal. I've met so many interesting people. Comedian Lou Perez, and of course my friend and colleague Misty Callahan, where we talked about apologetics. Her and Mia Rowe were my first two returning guests. Thank you for making that happen. Now I want to go ahead and apologize in advance. The dogs are in the apartment, so if you hear them barking or slobbering, I apologize. But we're going to move on because we've got a lot to cover today on StudioJake. Alright, we are back. So, I've got this app I want to show you. This is Chuck Norris Nonstop, or actually I think it's Nonstop Chuck Norris. So it's this new game you can download, and what's crazy about it and unique is it autoplays for you. So, but then when you want to do something, you hit that. And so even when you turn it off, when the app goes offline, it still plays. So you're still collecting coins, you're still collecting powers, you're still collecting gifts. The only thing you can't do is fight bosses when it's turned off. But that makes it really unique in the gaming world because you can't usually do that. Normally, when you turn off the game turns off and saves. The only thing I don't like about it is, see, you can collect these weapons and all kinds of gear. A hat for Chuck Norris. You can get body armor. Right now I have his Walker Texas Ranger costume, and you can update him. But here's the thing: when it gets to a particular thing, you click this button called Adventure, and you go to the next level. The only thing I don't like is you cannot carry your previously earned gear. You start completely over. Now you maintain everything else. You maintain all the coins you've collected, all the experience, everything, but you have to start over as far as the gear goes. And that's the only thing I don't like about it, which is a shame because Chuck Norris is my hero. Other than that, I love the game. I'm totally addicted to it. It's pretty much worn out my battery, my phone battery, 3 nights in a row. So, what can you do? Okay, moving on. Now, this is something I haven't done in a long time, but I'm actually caught up with All-Star Batman. This series right now is my favorite. Scott Snyder is the head writer, and every few issues they shift the artist. Now, I'm pretty much loving this series. My only complaint is they keep getting artists, you know, I wish they would get someone like Jim Lee or Steve Rude to illustrate, because I'm not a huge fan of that. Now, the cover art is different. Every cover has been awesome. Even my wife has said that some of the covers she would let me hang up. That says something. Now, anyway, I love the storyline, though. This current one just concluded. It's called The Ends of the Earth, and it follows Batman as he's trying to stop this virus from being released. He comes up against his nemesis Poison Ivy, who's actually trying to turn good. He comes up against Mad Hatter, who definitely is not turning good. And of course, we come to Ra's al Ghul. Now, one of the interesting things about All-Star Batman is it's reintroducing the Blackhawks into the DC Rebirth. Now, for those of you who are unaware, the Blackhawks were very popular during the Golden Age and Silver Age. They were like this elite group. They started off as an elite group of rogue allied fighter planes, I guess. And so they would travel through Europe and rescue people from the Nazis and whatnot. They were very, very popular. In fact, the Justice League originally was originally known as the Justice Society, and they were members of the Justice Society for a little while, the Justice Society of America. And of course, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, then they had the original Flash, Jay Garrick, and the original Green Lantern, and on and on and on. Anyway, I think that's pretty cool, how they're reintroducing these older characters, and also Batman's new sidekick, Duke. Now, you guys know me. I'm a traditionalist. I like Batman and Robin. I like Batman and Nightwing. I like Batman and Batgirl. But Duke is actually a pretty awesome sidekick. I've got to give them props for introducing someone who is very, very unique. So you probably hear my dog moving around. Sorry about that. Okay, so I want to mention one other thing before I dive into the main story. Now, I went to see a thriller called Unforgettable. It starred Rosario Dawson and Katherine Heigl. So basically what it is, Rosario Dawson plays this girl who is engaged to a single father. Now, the single father, he has an ex-wife who is played by Katherine Heigl. And it is super creepy. It is a super thriller. And one thing though, it didn't have old school M. Night Shyamalan. Now, I'm not talking, Lady in the Water, M. Night Shyamalan. I'm talking Signs or The Sixth Sense. It didn't have kind of that, I guess, creepy feeling that you don't know what's going to happen because you know who the bad guy was, Katherine Heigl. My understanding is Katherine Heigl basically played herself. Anyway, Katherine Heigl's character, the ex-wife, she begins stalking Rosario Dawson's character who's engaged to the single father. And she starts manipulating things from behind the scenes. She starts planting thoughts in Rosario Dawson's character's head. And they have a young daughter. And Katherine Heigl even starts manipulating the daughter to hate Rosario Dawson. It was very entertaining. I would call it a lowbrow thriller. So if you're just looking for something to enjoy, just to kind of, make you go, oh, every once in a while, it's good. Parents, it does have a little bit of sexual content, and it does have some foul language. So definitely don't take your kids to see it. If you do, you're probably a bad parent and a racist. So on my blog, I did this series of articles called Movies Trapped in Development Limbo We Want to See. And in the animated edition, I talked about Teen Titans, the Judas Contract. Bruce Timm has been wanting to get this movie out. It's an animated film based on a very old Teen Titan storyline. It was very popular. I think it even won some awards. Well, lo and behold, they're about to do it! Teen Titans, the Judas Contract. I'm super excited about this. It's going to be great. Now, they are making changes to it because they're making it part of the DC animated universe, which is part of Batman Bad Blood and Justice League versus Teen Titans and Justice League Dark. So it won't be a complete direct adaptation, but I still think it'll be good. It'll be cool to see that storyline in a modern context. So very excited about that. Can't wait to see it. It comes out, it's actually already out, so be sure to look it up and check it out. To the main story. If you've been watching my videos, you know that I'm a staff writer for conservativenews.com. We do mainly news commentary, and I know there's some controversy about that. Don't care. Conservative and proud. I'm a classic conservative, and I love it. Oh, and I'm also straight and Christian. I'm married to a hot Mexican woman. Awesomeness. Now, anyway, moving on. Recently, I wrote an article about the controversy behind this issue, X-Men Gold. For those of you who are unaware or living with your head in the sand, the artist here, I'm going to see if I can pronounce his name right. I don't want to humiliate him further. Ardian Syaf. He is a very talented, very popular comic book artist. He's been known to put messages in his artwork, but this time for this issue, X-Men Gold #1, not 001, we'll get to that in a moment, he put anti-Christian, anti-Semitic messages. And I wrote an article about that on conservativenews.com. I'll put the link to the article in the description of this video. Now, what is really cool, though, is the folks over at the Daily Wire, where my hero Ben Shapiro is the editor-in-chief, they decided to blurb me. It was pretty cool. Not on Ben Shapiro's podcast, but on his friend and colleague, Andrew Klavan. Now, for those of you who don't know, Andrew Klavan is an award-winning author and screenwriter, and he also does a lot of great commentary on culture. I highly, highly recommend his podcast. It's freaking awesome. So, anyway, check it out. They blurred me.
Didn't they also have like one guy who was putting in like little Muslim messages in the...
This is amazing, and I have to thank the writer Jacob Airy for this.
Yes, Jacob, that's where I read it. Jacob put it on this site, yeah.
He put it, it's this amazing piece on Conservative News. It's the most thorough piece about this topic. But we have here, and I have to be very careful with this. This is his copy.
This is actually Jacob's copy.
Yeah, this is worth more than my book advance, probably. This is X-Men Gold issue 001.
Okay.
And it was done by an artist named Ardian Syaf. And if you turn to page 12, that's where the trouble begins. Right here we have a character. The character's name is Kitty Pryde. Okay. Kitty is Jewish. Now, what's really incredible, I don't know if you can see this, there's a jewelry store right behind Kitty. Now, the only letters that are not obstructed by pieces of hair or another letter.
Don't tell me.
J-E-W.
You got to be kidding.
The global financial elite, or, I forget all those terms the alt-right was using, but yes, Jew is the word right behind this Jewish character. Seems coincidental. Then, if you look further down in the frame, or I'm sorry, on the right over here, you'll see the words, "We support our troops," but one of the bystanders' heads is blocking the word "support." So that is obviously more subtle than writing Jew right behind the character's head.
Okay. What is the 212? I see this thing 212.
So the number 212, very prominent number, and no one really knew what it meant going into it. The artist is an Indonesian Muslim. The number 212 refers to December 2nd, 2016, when the Jakarta governor, Basuki Tjahaja Purnama, who is one of the only Christian politicians in the country, was protested for perceived blasphemy against Islam. And by the way, the perceived blasphemy was simply to say that Indonesian Muslims should elect a Christian politician and not only a Muslim politician. That's what that number refers to. And that one seems a little esoteric, but I think the other examples will highlight it. You'll see on the character's shirt right here, ALM. That seems a little out of place. It stands for Alpha Lambda Mu, also better known as Alif Lim Mim, and that was the first Muslim fraternity founded in the United States a few years ago.
Okay.
And then the part where we really can't ignore this anymore is on this character Colossus on the shirt. The letters QS and then 551.
Uh-oh.
QS 551. Now
I can guess what this is. Yeah.
I've read a certain holy book. I remember reading it a few years ago. QS stands for Quran Surah 551. And that verse is, "O you who have believed, do not take the Jews and Christians as allies." And furthermore, there's an Indonesian translation of the Quran which says Muslims should not appoint the Jews and Christians as their leader.
Wow. Wow. So the message all put together is, Jews and Christians. This is mourning the elevation of a non-Muslim leader to Indonesia.
That's right, and it's clearly supporting the protests against this leader.
So ultimately, obviously, this got caught because Jacob caught it. So
the real question is, how did this get published? I mean, I'm no expert on comic books. Obviously, I had to read Jacob's article to really understand this world. Doesn't take a genius to notice these glaring symbols, QS, Jew, not the least among them. So this guy gets fired.
He did get fired.
He did finally get fired. He posted on Facebook, and he admitted to all of it. He copped to all of it. He said, quote, "My career is over now. It's a consequence of what I did, and I take it. Please, no more mockery, debate, no more hate. No more hate. Wait a second. Wait, who's telling me?
That's always the Islamist way. It's no more hate except our hate.
No more hate. Wait, I'm reading this whole book about it. So he's out of here now. But the real question is, how did this get through? I mean, how did someone not catch this before? And what is the environment at Marvel that is allowing this kind of drivel?
Wow, what a blurb. I would like to thank Andrew Klavan. I would like to thank Michael J. Knowles. They are both incredible writers. Well, Michael J. Knowles, his book, Reasons to Vote for Democrats, A Comprehensive Guide, one of the best books on voting for Democrats. And in fact, it's completely blank because he couldn't come up with a single reason to vote for a Democrat. All right, so now after this, Mr. Klavan and Michael J. Knowles, they start talking about comic book movies, and they have the position that the Marvel movies are infanticizing moviegoers because they just keep coming out, and that seems to be the only thing that people are seeing right now. Now, and they say that these movies, they stir up like more childlike fantasies instead of connecting with you on an adult level. I completely disagree. I think that, now, I will say, I do agree with them that they're not at the caliber of, say, Saving Private Ryan or Citizen Kane or The Shining or even Jurassic Park, with the exceptions of The Dark Knight and the very first Avengers movie. Those two I do think transcend what we've come to know as comic book movies. However, I disagree with them that they're infanticizing. They touch on, for instance, Guardians of the Galaxy, the main character, it touches on a boy who lost his mother and then he's taken away and he has no family. So he creates this new family with the crew he's with. Captain America Winter Soldier, it focuses on government intrusion. And the same with its sequel, The Civil War. It takes on the idea that the government can control our lives. It's a real world concept. And of course the Iron Man movies, and I know number 2 wasn't that great, or so people say, it takes on terrorism and the idea of that we're not alone. And of course the Avengers, Avengers Age of Ultron, it takes on the idea of men playing God, and how when man plays God, the creation itself gets away from you. So I disagree. I think those are very real world issues. Now, if they had said that about the DC movies, I might have been more prompt to agree. I mean, come on, Ben Affleck as Batman, we already had this conversation. But anyway, that's just my opinion. And they are more than welcome to have me on Andrew Klavan's podcast, and I would love to discuss that with Mr. Klavan. Now, guys, it's time to wrap up. Thank you so much for joining me today. I've had such a great time talking with you guys, and I hope that you'll come back. Be sure to like and hit that subscribe button. Follow me on Twitter, @RealJacobAiry. Find me on Instagram, real.jacob.airy. On Facebook, author Jacob Airy, and there you can find links to my articles on conservative news. And of course, find my blog, www.jacobairy.blog. Consider supporting me on Patreon. It is because of you, the viewers, that creative types like me can do what we do. Listen, I'm working with subpar equipment. That's why my videos aren't in HD. That's why I can only do it weekly with my decent camera. But consider supporting me on Patreon. Go over there, click. Lots of extra stuff for you guys, because you're awesome. And of course, pick up a copy of my paranormal novel, Cacophony. This is the very first copy. See, I signed it. You can pick it up. It's about angels and demons, seeing how faith and fear affect the supernatural. It's an enthralling, I would like to think, thrilling paranormal book. So pick up a copy. You can get a paperback edition on Amazon.com, and if you download the Kindle edition, you can get it on sale for a much cheaper price. So head over Amazon.com, type in Cacophony, that's Cacophony, or search for me, Jacob Airy, and of course follow me there on Amazon. Follow my author page, because I've got some pretty cool announcements coming up. Guys, see you in the vlogs, see you in the off topics, and of course, see you next time right here on Studio Jake.